Oh, hello. It's me. All right, we're unmuted. We're all good to go. Wi-Fi's looking good. Look at that. Look at that. How are we doing today, family? It is Thursday. We're almost there. We're almost made it to the end of the week. It's obviously been the first week that the 49ers we've had to go through of the season where the 49ers have lost. Obviously, the game on Sunday Night Football. So there is really a lot of dialogue and things like that about the loss, and we've been doing a lot of stuff. We've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of conversations. There's been a lot of back and forth about the hows, the whys, diagnosis, all that kind of stuff. And we'll get into it in a little bit, but we just got done with some of the press conferences. I believe they still have some getting ready to go. Not sure who else is left, but welcome everybody. Welcome. We see you. Sourdough Squad is in the building. Hashtag SDS. Let's go. We'll do our pleasantries. Get in here. Hello. 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 Let's go. Let's go. Um, So I think to I think DJ Jones said it perfectly. I really think he did. He said it in four words. He said it in four words. He said in regards to the matchup against the defensive Packers, he said they schemed us up. In regards to what he was really asking about or what he was answering is why the 49ers defensive line, has only been able to generate one sack, not a ton of pressures against, we know what was going on with that Packers offensive line. They were hurt. They had their third string tackle starting at left tackle, um, all that kind of stuff. And basically, what DJ Jones said, which also goes against the offense as well, is they schemed us up. After I've gone through the tape and done my study, it is crystal clear that you can only execute to a certain level based on what you're asked to execute. At a certain point, the defense is also part of the game plan, and they're scheming and doing certain things to the 49ers that just made it really, really difficult. So I thought it was a really well said by DJ Jones. They schemed us up. We'll get into some of the other press conference quotes, but I did want to get through some of the administration stuff. Running back Elijah Mitchell is practicing, but he does have a blue non-contact jersey on still. So we'll see. I think Elijah Mitchell's availability is a bit TBD at this point, but at least he's on the field and practicing. Although he's wearing the blue non-contact jersey, I would feel much better about his chances if he were to shed that blue non-contact jersey. But he is at least practicing. I really think after going back and watching this game again, the perceived issues amongst the offensive line. I thought Mike McDaniel's, like, that's why I really like Mike McDaniel's, because I think we definitely see the game similarly, at least based on our diagnosis of some of the issues that were occurring. Again, a lot of the situation, a lot of the conversation, um, a lot of the conversation is surrounding the offensive line. A lot of the conversation is surrounding the struggles of the offensive line, things of that nature. But essentially, Mike McDaniels came on and said, yeah, well, there's a lot of other things that go into getting your run game started and getting that situation going. And a big part of that has to do with the way the defenses are playing you. That's something that we've keyed on yesterday when we did our offensive review of the tape, is that they were doing a really good job defensively, being able to counter and already be one step ahead of the 49ers. So the reason why I started off with DJ Jones's quote is they schemed us up. The Packers schemed us up. And that is going to be a big emphasis for Kyle Shanahan, D'Amico Ryans, Mike McDaniels, whichever coach you want to point at. I would say the 49ers got outcoached by the Packers. So I would feel like that's a situation where this team has to take a lot of steps in the right direction, and they have to look at themselves in the mirror and learn a lot about that game against the Green Bay Packers. Some other news of guys not practicing: George Kittle calf, Javon Kinlaw knee, Josh Norman chest, K'Wan Williams. I think we can rule out K'Wan Williams having any chance to play. Obviously, the biggest ones are George Kittle, Javon Kinlaw, Josh Norman. Josh Norman said that he is trying to get on the field today. Hey, shout out Dylan. I just seen you follow me on Twitter. Good looking, man. One of the big things, again, it's going to be George Kittle, Javon Kinlaw, Josh Norman. The positives are that Kinlaw and Norman were present and working onto the side, which would indicate George Kittle really wasn't on hand today. I would like to think that we're looking at a veteran type situation. Now, again, Kittle did get banged up. There was one play. I wish I logged it. I didn't log it. But Kittle was on the opposite side of the formation. They were running to the right. Kittle is pulling across the line, essentially. And the defensive end squares up with them. Number 47 squares up with them at the line of scrimmage. And George does this thing where he'll either like hit you head on, or he'll like do this little barrel roll like into your legs where he cuts your legs out. Well, when he went to do that, number 47 stuck his shoulder right into the middle of Kittle's back. And it like 47 did a really good job of like stopping Kittle's momentum. And again, it like Kittle got up a little gimpy. I was like, man, Kittle's getting beat up this game. But as we know, he continued to fight through it, fought through it, ended up having some huge plays in the game, and did a really, really, really good job for the most part. But that is a bit of a concern. We're not hitting the panic button until tomorrow. Until the practice report tomorrow, that's when we have a true understanding of what's really going on here. So that's what we'll be keying on for tomorrow in regards to practice reports, what that means against Seattle, in regards to who's playing, who's not playing. Again, as of right now, the guys that we know K'Wan Williams isn't going to play. The guys that we're looking at are George Kittle, Javon Kinlaw, Josh Norman. Would be great to get those three guys available for the game. One of the things that came out of the one of the press conferences from Mike McDaniels was the fact that Mike McDaniels specifically talked about Brandon Aiyuk, talked about him. He quote, Aiyuk had been earning the right to be on the field more, essentially saying that there was a situation going on, much more than just the injury that was presented. There was something going on behind the scenes regarding effort or something like that. One of the things that we keyed on in our film study yesterday was Brandon Aiyuk showed a whole lot of effort in the blocking game. So those are all positive signs that he is heading in the right direction. So we really, really like that. What else did Mike say? Mike also talked about the running backs. I had actually went onto a Twitter space and was actually asked this question about like what are the adjustments that the offensive line need to make to allow there to be room for these runners. And that this is one of the things that I said is like when I went back and watched, and we watched it together, the offensive line did their job for the most part. Of course, there were those glaring plays that they missed. We identified them, we looked at them, we understand why they happened. But when it came to the lack of running game, it was twofold. It was one, the Green Bay defense was doing a fantastic job of scheming against what we were doing. Meaning it felt like they knew what we were doing at certain points. So they were already a gap over. They were already playing the leverage to the play, which again puts them in position to make the play, puts us out of position. So that's one fold, which is what Mike McDaniel said. He also said another reason why the 49ers had a really difficult time getting the run game going, and this is what I was talking about in the spaces, was that your running backs need to help you as an offensive lineman. Your running backs need to help to be able to identify blocks, be able to identify leverage, to understand help set up blocks, and then cut off of it. I use the example of the touchdown run to Jermichael Hasty from Jermichael Hasty in the red zone against Philadelphia. If you guys remember that play, I wish I had it like right in front of me, and I could pull it up. Do I have it actually? Wait, do I have it? No, I don't have it. I might have it. All right, hold on. This is choppy, but if I'm talking about a play and I have it, I'll show it. But anyways, the play it was on the goal line. It was a zone left. Mike McGlinchey is forced to essentially block down. When you're blocking down, you can't have interior penetration. So when you have interior penetration, it really messes up the play. And the reason why I talked about this play in the spaces in regards to running backs setting up blocks, well, when McGlinchey had the interior penetration slanting inside, he got his body on him and tried to wall him down the line of scrimmage. But at that point, there's already penetration. If Jermichael Hasty was running his zone left and just ran left, it would have been a tackle for a loss. It would have been looked like a disastrous blow up and like a really bad block by Mike McGlinchey. But this is where the running back comes into play in setting up your offensive line. So when Mike is trying to push this guy down the line of scrimmage, Jermichael Hasty takes his first step after getting the ball, realizes that he has pressure coming right at him. So what he does is he literally stops, jumps, like does a jump cut backwards, and then veers right. So it was a zone left. He stops, jump cuts, goes right. As a result, it puts Mike McGlinchey in a great leverage position, and then Mike McGlinchey finishes with a pancake. That is on Jermichael Hasty. Like, Jermichael Hasty deserves all the credit there. And that's what I was talking about. Like when looking at some Trey Sermon runs and some of the other running backs, like Juszczyk, for example. Juszczyk just ran into the back of Lincoln Tomlinson on one play. There are just instances where we saw there wasn't a fluidity with the running backs and how they were running behind the blocks that the offensive line were setting up. It's a combination. It's a dual. It's a very symbiotic relationship between offensive linemen setting up blocks and running backs understanding how to set them up, hit them at the right timing, and helping their offensive linemen. So Mike McDaniels talked about that, which again just confirms what I saw. They're clearly seeing the same thing, which goes back into like, well, what is the difficulty getting the run game going? He basically said that's a loaded question, because running the ball is a team effort. It's a team effort. Of course, the offensive line is going to get all the blame and or focus of anything that didn't occur, but is a huge reason. And this is exactly the point that I made in the spaces, was that what you're seeing right now with this offensive line is you are missing Raheem Mostert so much right now. Raheem Mostert's outside speed, Raheem Mostert's ability to find cutback lanes, Raheem Mostert's ability to run the outside zone. We are feeling that pressure right now. We are feeling what it's like to not have a really good back like Raheem Mostert, and we're seeing that a little bit. Other than that, D'Amico Ryan spoke during the press conference a little bit. He talked about how the run defense has to be better, similarly to what DJ Jones spoke about. It's got to be better. They got to be the aggressor, and all that kind of stuff. So I really think that they're taking a long look at themselves in the mirror this week. I'm glad that they got smacked in the face this week, because we needed to get smacked in the face this week. We kind of needed to show our hand a little bit, or at least understand that we're too predictable at this point. The biggest thing that I took away from this press conference, hearing from Mike McDaniels, hearing from D'Amico Ryans, at least from the offensive, I'll just stick to the offense. With the offensive standpoint, just too predictable at this point. Too predictable at this point. We got out coached. 49ers were out coached. At least from an offensive to defensive standpoint, the defense had the 49ers number. They knew exactly what they were doing. And you could see that. And that's why the run game wasn't working. That's why it felt like it was so difficult to get anything working, is because they already knew. They already knew. So it is what it is. I mean, I'll show up an example of what I'm talking about. I don't think I brought this up during yesterday's film review, but since I'm talking about it, I'll show an example of what it looks like to get out schemed. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So this is an example. I posted this to Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen this, but this is exactly what it's like to get out schemed on offense. Because again, we're focusing on the offensive line. We're like, oh, these guys have the issues. Like, is that really the issue? Because watch number 59. Watch number 59. See this guy right here? See that? Just that right there. He already knows. Debo hasn't moved yet. Debo has not moved. Oh, do we have Nick Bosa? Nick Bosa? Oh, Nick Bosa. I don't know. Hold on a sec. Should we do Nick Bosa somehow? Hold on one sec.
Mentality we have to have with him as a quarterback. It seems like he may try to buy time in the pocket more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you guys hear Nick?
Where he likes to escape each way, and knowing that he's going to hold on to it, and you got to keep going in your rush. Even
can you hear him?
Blocked, you just keep going, and but not get too out of your rush either. To where
all right, let's watch.
Letting him find that escape route that he wants.
I can ask you specifically what the scouting report is, but you have, for you guys, defensive linemen have a scouting report for each quarterback on those things, like where that guy tends to go when the pressure comes?
Yeah, we have a cut up every week. Chris makes a cut up of him running, and so every week we have an idea of where he likes to escape, and obviously in our division it's pretty important.
Does their escape route develop or change throughout their seasons?
I feel like it's pretty similar. Always do the same stuff, like if pressure's coming from a certain way, they usually do the same thing to escape it, and just have to be ready for that.
Analytics question, but do you know how many times about you're getting chipped?
No, but it's been a lot this year. We gotta start doing some stuff to fix that. Yeah, games, certain chip beaters that Chris has used over the years, and we just got to get them called and execute them. And I just need to be better off of the chips after not just stand there like I'm shocked that it's happening. And yeah, we could do a lot of things.
Do a better job of seeing them coming, or what can you do?
I don't know, expect it more and get back to my rush quicker. I kind of just sat there and took it against Green Bay and felt sorry for myself. So I need to just be ready for it. And I just didn't expect it quite as much, but it's coming.
Did you notice that you're doing that during the game, just kind of taking it, or was it after you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to stay inside. It's tough when they're aligned so wide, because if I get so wide, then I'm like 15 yards from the quarterback anyway. So So yeah, I try to stay inside, but then sometimes they would motion them in, so that's kind of tough because I'm locked in on what I have to do, and somebody motions in and hits me in the back. Tough on those, but ones where he is standing there, I have to just be more aware.
Your rookie season 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, just certain techniques where I don't want to give away our chip beaters, but like he said, certain games where you just stunt a certain way, and just when it's obvious, when there's a back on one side and a tight end off the ball on third down on the other side, each side is going to get chipped. So just running games and chip beaters. Yeah. I don't think he was chipping on that one, actually. So the one time I could have actually gotten a rush. Yeah, that worked for sure. That is actually one of the ones we use, but there's other ones that we didn't get to. I'm not sure why, but we're definitely going to be better about it.
I asked D'Amico this question: what was it like after? How did you spend the 24 hours after the game? Do you immediately watch tape? Do you unwind, crash, eat? What's going on?
I was pretty annoyed. I just the 24 hours we were in here, so at night I just called my loved ones and tried to get my mind off of it that night, and then the next day, we had a pretty I don't know what to call it, but we had some interesting meetings that we had to own up to it, and a lot of us didn't do the job that we definitely could have done. Obviously, there's a couple injuries, but we expect everybody to be able to do the job, and a lot of us didn't. So. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. It's definitely good. It's a long year, and it's tough when you think you definitely just see the things that could have easily won the game for us, and we didn't execute. But if we avoid those for the rest of the year, we'll be good.
Obviously, you guys want to win every game, particularly in the division. But is there a sense of an understanding of how tough this division is that puts more emphasis on games like Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough division, but I feel like the NFL right now is super competitive all around. I look at my brother's division, and he's dealing with some really good teams every week as well. So it's just kind of what the NFL is. Just really disciplined, good teams every single week. And if you're not on your stuff, then you could easily wind up losing every game. So we got to be ready every week. Thanks. A little bit of both. Yeah, that we need to improve on. I think everybody would agree
on that. All right. Yeah, Cap. Live reaction time. Woo! Live reaction to the Nick Bosa presser. All right, hold on one sec. Let me get this thing down. Okay. Is there more people coming on? We gonna have more? They haven't killed the stream yet. All right. Well, that normally means more is coming on. Okay, but basically, I like the honesty. I think someone else in the chat said that as well. Where did that go? Yeah. Jackie, probably destroying it. your name. But I agree. I like the honesty here. I think that this defensive line, I think DJ Jones spoke on it. Again, what did DJ Jones say? They schemed us up. Um Bosa basically came out. He didn't hide anything. He's basically saying the same thing, but he's actually being a little bit more honest. Again, he took ownership for not being able to see the chip blocks coming his way. There is a level, Jackie. There we go. There's a level of awareness that is needed when you're playing in the trenches. You got to know what's on your left. You got to know what's on your right. And if you go back to some of the plays where Bosa got chipped and he got laid out, he is not aware. He is not paying attention. He's not looking. He's just in his own world, doing his own thing. And I think that it's good that he's taking responsibility for that, as well as the defense as a whole, to be able to help him. Of course, if you're a linebacker or like maybe a guy playing like a nickel cornerback, you can do a lot of help by able to communicate, especially when you see someone come shift down to kind of that chip position. You can alert Bosa. You can just simply say alert, alert, alert. And Bosa knows and just goes like that, looks out to his right, and then maybe changes the way that he goes up against these guys and these tackles, because he should know by now that he's good enough that they're not going to leave him on an island with anyone. They're going to send running backs to chip. They're going to send tight ends to chip. Hell, they're sending slot wide receivers to chip at this point. So really, I think what it comes down to is just a level of awareness from everyone, starting with the scheme, which then goes to Bosa and then goes to his teammates. Everyone needs to be able to do it. I think one of my favorite what did he say? He said something about like, I don't know, like what did he say? How Bosa's going to defend against the chip blocks? Chip beaters. We need chip beaters. And I like that. I like the chip beaters. Bosa and this defense are for sure going to need to develop chip beaters to get this thing rolling in the right direction. I don't think anyone else is at the podium yet. We'll see. So anyways, back to kind of what we'll try to transition back. One of the things, again, that the defense is talking about, the offense is talking about, I think the biggest takeaway from this game that now that I've heard both the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, once I've heard both of those things, all right, I'm getting out of here then. This is over. All right. Maybe some of them will come over and say, what's up? Come on over if you just got out of that live. One of the things, I think the biggest takeaway from that game is the scheme. I think the 49ers got out-schemed both offensively and defensively, and I think that is a group of guys that understand that. Based on what was said today. Again, Kyle Shanahan is going to say Kyle Shanahan things. He's going to be operating off his own sense of whatever. He's just going to be doing his own thing. And he has his own, he has to communicate a very certain way. I think it's refreshing to hear from the coordinators because they're going to be more specific a little bit in the sense of what actually occurred and what needs to be worked on. And again, from both sides of the football, it came down to getting out schemed. And what I have on the screen is an example of what that means. And this is what we were talking about before Bosa came on, but is perfect transition again for us to talk about how the Packers out schemed us. Because this is an indication right now that they know exactly what we're doing. They know exactly what we're doing because watch 59. Watch 59. Watch Debo. Who moves first? Who moves first? What? Why is 59 doing that? Why? Debo hasn't even gone in motion yet. Why is 59 moving before Debo Samuel? You see this? Look at this guy. He's bailing. They haven't hiked the ball. They haven't called him in motion yet. Look at him bail. Look at him just bail. And look at the angle he takes. he's already angling towards kind of that. What does he go? He goes into the A gap, I think. He's already angling towards the A gap. And then they hike the ball. Yep. Okay. Staying square. He's gone. He already knows where this ball is going, and he angles straight towards the A gap. And this is why what we talk about when we say, like DJ Jones says, you get out schemed. This is what that means. This is when the other team has your number. They know exactly what you're going to do, how you're trying to do it, and they are playing their formation and they're playing their defense to beat this. And that's exactly what they did. So this is a great opportunity for the coaching staff, in my opinion. Again, a lot of people wanted to assign blame. A lot of people wanted to assign blame to D'Amico Ryans. I thought D'Amico Ryans did a pretty darn good job, considering the circumstances, considering how it was really all on the defense for the first 2 quarters of the game. I'm looking at Kyle, man. I said this at the beginning of the week, and I feel much, much more confident even now saying this. You got to look at Kyle. You got to be able to, if you're at least going to know, like, and be able to indicate that these teams know what you're doing, you have to be able to make the adjustments off of it. The adjustment that I would make here is obviously they're angling it towards the outside. But if you have a guy who's going to blow this thing up like that, and the natural lane is right here anyways, then I need Juice to do a little bit more. I know they have been doing this weird combo block where, like, Kittle will engage and then leak and then Juice takes over the block. So I don't know if that's kind of what they're anticipating here, because honestly, Juice doesn't go to anywhere or do anything. And it just doesn't work. So again, my adjustment here is that if you know that this guy is creeping on you and you have Juice right here, Juice should be looking inside out. So when you get to this point, I want Juice looking kind of this way. I want him peeking at that, so that if we make the adjustment and we see, like, oh, look, we're blocked up good here. We're blocked up good here. Angle it back into the hole. And if Juice can wall this off, imagine if Juice walled that off. You're beaten. You have one guy to beat. I would say Debo could do that, and you're off to the races. Simple adjustments that I think would make a big difference, especially if you know these guys got your number. Especially if you know these guys got your number. So again, we're putting a bow on the loss to the Green Bay Packers. The bow, in my opinion, is coaching, being predictable. You know, Seattle has this tape now. Seattle has this tape. They're going to look at this and they're going to be like, oh, that's how we beat this. That's how we beat that. That's how we beat this. And that's how we beat that. Literally, that's that's part of the unfortunate nature of playing other coaches that know you very well. Again, Matt LaFleur was under Kyle Shanahan. Matt LaFleur runs a very similar offense that Kyle Shanahan does. So they know, they're aware. They know what they're trying to accomplish. They know what they're looking for. They know what they're keying on. So what Green Bay put on tape is they put the blueprint up of how to currently beat the 49ers. And now what you have to do as a coach is, one, you still have to be able to run your base offense. You have to get established in the run game, and you have to do all the things that you want to be able to do and you practice and install during the week. But you have to be able to counter off of that if they are keying on those things. If they are keying on you to do these end arounds, which all teams are, because Kyle is the one who really made these popular in the NFL in 2019. Well, guess what? They know what's coming. They're looking for it. They're keying on it. So take advantage of that information. Take advantage of this information. If you see a guy bailing out that quickly, I want Juice looking at that. I would actually like Juice, like if I'm a coach and I'm looking at this thing and we're like, all right, well, how do we block this up to be a little bit more efficient than what we're looking at? All right, well, if we're indicating that this dude is the issue, we can pinpoint that right away. Juice can put his eyes right there right away. Debo, he knows Debo's coming in motion. So he can have his eyes peaked here. He can be like cheating. We're watching you. Juice can still run the same path that he's running, just like he does. And he can get to this point and realize, like, okay, all right, we're actually blocked up pretty well. I'm instantly peeking back to the inside. Juice is athletic enough to make this block and good enough to make this block. You come back, wall that off. Debo's gone. So small adjustments that can be made. But again, the key, biggest takeaway is that this team got out coached and out schemed. Out coached and out schemed. So it is what it is. How about this? We haven't really done any defense. I'll pull up a couple. I unfortunately got so wrapped up in the offense that I I didn't do my due diligence as I would have liked to on the defense. I did get a couple plays logged so we could look at it, and then I'll open it up for some questions, topics. I saw the Tom Brady thing. You guys asking about that. I'll talk about Tom Brady if we want, but let's get through some of the tape first. What is this? Oh. This is, I'm on the wrong tape. All right. So let me see. Bear with me. So yeah, it's let me get my stuff pulled up here. So as we look towards Seattle, though, as we start to transition towards Seattle, I think it's very important. I think it's very important to understand that Seattle's probably going to key on a lot of the same things. So I think it's fine if you show a lot of the same looks, but understand they now have the blueprint of what that looks like and how to key on that and how to stop that. So what's the solution? Is you come up with the counters off of that. You now know that they know. So use that information to your benefit. Allow them to set up certain blocks a certain way based on that information. And I think that would put them in a really, really good spot. Green Bay Packers. Oh, versus Seattle. Okay. All right. Let's look at some defensive plays. Break down some of the tape just a little bit, and then we'll open it up. For just discussion of whatever we want to talk about. So let's see. At 47, I got 47. So this one I noticed early. Is it this one? No, it's this one. 47, I have Kinlaw against double. So this isn't like a highlight, but in regards to, like, I know there's a lot of conversation about Javon Kinlaw and what the expectation is, the numbers, sack numbers, things like that. In regards to what I want from Javon Kinlaw is I want Javon Kinlaw to take up double teams. This is what I want. I want to see this. I want to see two guys get completely stuck and held up on Javon Kinlaw. Again, because you know why this is so important for this defense? You need guys like Javon Kinlaw to be able to hold up double teams. Now you're going to see what it does on the opposite side. So you're going to see why it's important to have a guy like this to be able to hold off double teams. Look, when you have DJ Jones and they're doubling the backer and they understand that they can do this nice little pass off. You see this double is a great double by their offensive lineman, by the way. So you're going to see how they're going to pass this off, get to backer. Obviously, if they got there one step sooner, it changes a lot. But this is why having Javon Kinlaw is like, we need this. Like, this is a win for me. He's eating up two blockers. Watch Javon right here. Look at him. He's eating up two blocks. These guys can't get off. They can't get off. That leaves Alshire ready to flow. So, like, let's say, for example, this double on the backside that it was able to work, and number 70 is able to wall off Fred. If Alshire gets eaten up by this double, this thing is breaking huge. So I know it's not a flashy play, but I think that's part of the thing with Javon Kinlaw and the narrative around Javon Kinlaw of like what we need from this guy. In my opinion, if Javon Kinlaw is occupying 2 blockers every single play, that is a win. I don't care if he gets 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 0 tackles for loss. If he is maintaining his gap responsibility by taking up 2 blockers and holding the line of scrimmage that way, that allows Fred Warner and Azeez Al-Shaair to flow and do what they need to do. That's the whole point. That's why this type of trench play is super important. If they were able to just double the backer right here, this play would be huge. Play would be huge, but they couldn't because look at Kinlaw. He's a force, man. He's a force. He's holding the line of scrimmage. He's holding 2 guys. They don't push him back. Again, this doesn't show up on the stat sheet. It barely passes the eye test. It jumped out to me, but I want this. I want this. Holding the line of scrimmage, 2 guys. Can't move Javon. Win. Because look who makes a tackle. Azeez Al-Shaair comes in with Fred Warner to clean it up. I love that stuff. Definitely love that stuff. So that's kind of what my expectation is of Javon Kinlaw at this point. We got a Bosa pass breakup. Oh, I remember this one. I think. Okay, so they let Bosa go free. This was supposed to be just a quick little bubble screen. Bosa, if Bosa picked this would have been like reminiscent of the Panthers game back in 2019. You guys remember that? When Bosa picked it off at the line of scrimmage and almost scored. Wild that Aaron Rodgers was able to catch this, but really heads up play by Bosa here to get that done. Let's watch it again. It's hard when you leave Bosa unblocked, man. That guy's is doing some work. So let's see. Bosa bench press, tackle for loss. All right, what is that? Let's take a look and see what we got. I like Bosa bench presses. Big stepping. Oh, yeah. Look at Bosa, man. See, I think this is when Green Bay realized, like, we can't leave this guy one-on-one in any situation. Like, watch Bosa here. Bosa's on this side. Watch him just bench press this offensive lineman straight into Aaron Jones. Able to get off the block, make the tackle. Really, really like to see that. But honestly, Bosa started to fade because I think they really started to identify that he's going to wreck the game if they continue to do this. So I really like that. Looking across the offensive line. Oh, you have Arden Key. They moved Arden Key over the guard. You got D Ford out here. Azeez Al-Shaair is in good position. I like this play. This is a good play by the defense. K Street breaks free. Does all that good stuff. Samson Ebukam, great squeeze and tackle. All right, let's see what that is. Samson Ebukam, great squeeze and tackle. All right, where's Samson? All right, so we have Samson to our left of the screen. I know people have been talking about Samson, maybe saying like, where's his production at? Again, he's been rotating. He's been playing a lot of different positions. They've been having him over the guard. They've had him doing all kinds of stuff. But I really like this. Again, Robert Tonyan is a tight end. He's a good tight end, and he trains with Kittle, and you know what that means. They emphasize blocking. Tonyan knows how to block. This tight end right here, he knows how to block. So he's not like every other tight end that might be questionable. He's a good blocker. You can even see the way he shoots his hands, all that kind of stuff. But what I really like here is Samson fighting to the inside. He's getting held here. You see the hold, and he still fights through it to get this hit. I really like it because look at this. If he doesn't do this right here, if Samson doesn't get this, and you get this wall off block, and you get Dylan kind of doing a little like hide and go seek behind some of these offensive linemen, he could have squeaked that through. Like there's a hole right here. You see the blocker here, you see a blocker here, you see a blocker here. If Samson doesn't get home right here, this actually could have turned into a substantial gain. So might not look great on the broadcast, but I think this is a great effort here. Great effort here by Samson. Nice work. Nice work, Samson. All right. Well, this is actually a pro Packers play. So let's see what the pro it says great play design, Packers, Rodgers to Devontae Smith. Oh, or Devontae Adams. I think I know what this play is. Yeah, I know what this play is. All right. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm taking this play. If it's not already his play, if Kyle Shanahan already doesn't have this installed, I am running this. This thing's beautiful. Okay, let's watch it and then we'll break it down. It's the play design. This is why this is coaching. Play design. Coaching. Play design. Coaching. Coaches put players in position to make plays to win the game. Again, but it starts with coaching. It all starts with coaching. Again, watch Devontae. It's so good. It's so good because essentially, remember the first play that we started with when we showed. Wow, is this the same play? Hold on a sec. Is this the same play? Oh, light bulb moment. Hold on one second. I think we might have got something here. Hold on. Hold on a sec. That looks familiar. Oh, yeah, we did it. I love when this stuff happens like this. Look at this. Remember the play that we broke down earlier? Remember that? Remember that play? This is the same formation, essentially, except it's a little bit different in regard to the split right here. This makes more sense because it's the goal line, but look at the formation. Look at the formation. This was the play that the 49ers ran. Remember, Deebo Samuel goes in motion, right? Look, in motion, but he goes all the way through. It's a handoff. They destroy it, right? Remember that? Look at this. It's the same formation. It's the same concept, except look at how they beat it. Look at how Demo plays it really quick. See how Demo bails? Watch him bail. He's bailing because he is doing the exact same thing that number 59 does here. Watch it again. Remember 59 bailing? Look at 59 bail. That's what Demo's doing here. And look how they completely take advantage of it. Demo goes, hard cut. You get Alan Lazard just demolishing Josh Norman, walk-in touchdown. It's the same formation. It's the exact same formation. This is the counter off of it. Woo! Woo! I love this stuff, man. I love when you can connect the dots like this. Again, this is the Packers offense. Same exact formation as the 49ers. Again, one gets blown up. 49ers get blown up. The other, Packers turn it into a touchdown. Again, both same concepts. Defense are playing it the same way. So I didn't even make the connection that these two are the same, literally the same exact formations, the same exact concept. I had no idea. I just made that connection right now, but you can see how well it works with this concept. So that's what we were talking about, the counter, right? How do you counter off of this? How do you counter off of this play? Because if you're going to have a guy bail out like that, then take advantage of that. And how do you take advantage of that? All right, you want to bail to the inside? Okay, Debo goes here, sticks his foot in the ground, goes back out. You get a block here, and it turns into this play. This is the play. This is the counter off of what got stopped. This is the counter. Good stuff. Again, what did we talk about at the beginning of the show? Talked about coaching. Talked about getting schemed up. Looks like we got schemed up pretty good. Looks like we got schemed up pretty darn good. They definitely had our number, man. They definitely had our number. Again, it's exploiting the tendency. And the tendency is for this defensive back keying on this receiver to flow over the top because they're anticipating like an end around motion, but they totally take advantage of it. Whoo. JJR, we welcome Rams fans if they are like we absolutely promote trash talking, but respectful trash talking, clever trash talking. Like one of our regulars here is a Lions fan because he came in here and talked trash for a month leading up to the Lions game, but he did it very respectfully. So he's actually a legend in these parts, and he's not even a 49ers fan. He's a Rams fan. So we welcome any other fans if they want to join. But if you come in here talking crazy, you come here looking for some problems, then no, we don't. But if you want to, we accept friendly trash talk, we accept clever trash talk, all that kind of stuff. So yes, we do accept others here. Red Eye said legend, low standards. You know Don is a legend in these YouTube 49er bowels. Don has made a name for himself, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. I don't think we have a problem here. I hope not. So anyways, those are some defensive plays. Again, I didn't get through. I only got through about 10 minutes. Only got about 10 minutes of the defensive game kind of taken care of. I've been big on the offensive side. But if you guys want to ask any questions, comments, I'll talk about the Brady thing. I know the Brady thing came up today. This has been something that's been going on for a while. If you go back to that off season, we knew that. I knew that as someone who runs this page and collects news and notes and all that kind of stuff. I knew Tom Brady wanted to come to the 49ers. I knew there was a conversation. I knew there was back and forth. And I knew the 49ers said no. I knew the 49ers were going through that decision-making process with Tom Brady, and I know that they stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo. So obviously, I think it came out today in a book that Tom Brady told Wes Welker, who's the 49ers current wide receiver coach and was at the time, that Tom Brady was going to come to the 49ers in a situation that had a no bid situation. He wanted to retire as a 49er. He wanted to go out as a 49er. He would have like taken a, I guess, team friendly deal to make it work. And the 49ers said no. The 49ers said no. Again, it was right after the Super Bowl run. It's hard to. I remember being in that situation because it came up and we were reporting on it on my page. I mean, at that time, based on where we were, again, we understood what Jimmy was in 2019. We understood that Jimmy in 2019 was a ramp up from week one. We knew the first 4 weeks of the year he wasn't playing his best ball because of the ACL injury. They were hiding him in the basically on the offense because the defense was so good. I mean, Kyle Shanahan went out and said this on the podcast when he joined McVay and Schrager in the offseason. That's what he said when he was talking about the 2019 year. He said, I'd never had a defense so good that we could just keep trying to establish our offense, even if it wasn't working, because our defense was going to take care of business and special teams was going to take care of business. And so that's what he was talking about. They didn't have to overextend themselves on offense in 2019 due to their elite defense, and Kyle Shanahan admitted that. Well, we're seeing that kind of correlate now, where we're not seeing that same impact from the defense, at least early, and which translates into the offense really needing to be much more of a crucial piece into getting everything figured out. I think that at that time, based on being a throw or two away from winning the Super Bowl, hell, I said keep Jimmy, because I was thinking long term. I was thinking that, although we lost the Super Bowl, I would imagine Jimmy Garoppolo is only going to get better, because I recognize he had a really hard kind of situation of going from getting his ACL torn in 2018, dealing with the ramp up in 2019. I imagined he was going to come out 2020 firing. And I imagine he would only get better and better from there. He didn't, unfortunately. Jimmy actually regressed in 2020. And so it makes the story sting now. I think knowing everything that we know. Appreciate that, Sammy. The Buffalo War Pigs. All right. I think knowing everything we know now, if we had a time machine, I think Kyle Shanahan had a time machine, we're probably bringing Tom Brady in here, and we're probably making the hard decision, right after the Super Bowl. But again, I think a lot of those hard decisions that we are seeing that them make and stick with after that year has a lot of the same undertones of why they stuck with him this year. Back then, again, it's really hard when you have an entire locker room who has the support of your starting quarterback, who is the leader of your team. And to have that guy, whether you want to give him credit for it or not, take you to a Super Bowl and almost get you there over the hump, to then just throw him out on the streets for Tom Brady, it's a hard decision to make. There's a lot of human element factors that get involved at that point, because again, your George Kittles, your all the guys on the offense, your use checks, they're Jimmy guys. So it becomes a bit of a double-edged sword. Like, do we bring in this guy? What if we let Jimmy go and Tom Brady falls off a cliff in regards to production? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's just so many variables. I can understand the decision to stick with Jimmy at that time. Hindsight being what it is, I think pretty much anyone at this point would go back and get Tom Brady on this team. But I've known about that since back then. That was early 2020. When Tom Brady came out and did that show, I think it was in the off season, where he was talking about how he wanted to go to a team. Remember, like, where they did that thing? He's like, "You're gonna pick this effing guy over me?" He was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I was adamant this offseason that when he came out and did that interview, that's exactly who he was talking about. And this only ties that together. Tom Brady wanted to play for the 49ers. Tom Brady wanted to come over here and do all that. Could you imagine, though? Like, just think about that. Just think about if Tom Brady comes over here. Tom Brady comes over to the 49ers, and he brings Gronkowski with him, and he brings Antonio Brown with him. And the 49ers 2 tight ends right now are George Kittle and Rob Gronkowski. Could you imagine? Could you imagine what this team would be doing with that offense? And you have Debo Samuel and Antonio Brown running wild on the outside with Tom Brady throwing them passes. Like, crazy, man. Crazy. It's crazy to think about. Of course, it's revisionist history at this point. But it's pretty insane to think about. It's pretty insane to think about. Uh, to imagine, like, what if Gronkowski and Kittle played on the same team? Are you kidding me? How would you stop that? How would you stop Gronkowski and Kittle with Tom Brady at the quarterback position? We probably won 3 championships in a row. So yeah, it hurts a little bit now. It hurts a little bit now, and especially with all the drama that we're dealing with and going through all the crap that we're dealing with, the quarterback position, who's the quarterback, is it this guy, is it that guy? That's the bed that we've made. That's a larger conversation too that goes into the overarching thought process surrounding the quarterback, how Kyle has gone about going and getting the quarterback. That just adds another list of great quarterbacks that Kyle Shanahan has passed over. Again, Kyle Shanahan passed over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, 2 generational talents. 2 generational talents. Anyone with 2 eyeballs that understood anything about football could put your eyes on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes coming out of college to know that they were generational talents. You knew that, and it was very easy to comprehend. The Deshaun Watson was the pro-ready generational talent. Mahomes was the developmental generational talent. Literally anyone with 2 eyeballs could see that. Kyle doesn't go that route. Kyle goes for Hoyer. Kyle goes for CJ Beathard in the 3rd round. So this just is another thing to stack onto the list that doesn't look good for Kyle Shanahan in regards to the quarterback position. But at this point, it is what it is. The hope is that they're developing Trey Lance the right way. I think it's crystal clear. Whether you are a fan of Jimmy, you don't want Jimmy. Jimmy's not the future here. There's no way Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback in 2022. So the biggest thing is you have to hope that the 49ers are developing Trey Lance in the best way possible. So I just really hope that's the case. What happened on this play? Oh yeah, this isn't a good Bosa play. This isn't a good Bosa play to get washed down by a wide receiver like this. Man, that is not a good play. Especially when you're the edge defender and you're holding contain. That's not good. This is one that Bosa for sure would want back. So it is what it is. We can't go back. We can't change anything. Our quarterback situation right now is Jimmy Garoppolo. We understand how polarizing that is. We understood in the offseason how polarizing it would be to keep Jimmy Garoppolo on this team. I have nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. Again, he's an inconsistent quarterback at this particular stage of his career. But I think we knew that. I think the coaches knew that. The unfortunate thing you do by keeping a guy on this roster that doesn't have a future is everyone knows he doesn't have a future here. So everyone's just chomping at the bit to see Trey Lance. Well, the unfortunate thing about doing that is you give Jimmy Garoppolo all the first team reps all offseason, all throughout this year. Who's getting the first team reps? That's Jimmy Garoppolo. So I saw Trey Lance not getting developed necessarily how I think he should be developed all offseason. And now there's this discontent and this discourse between the fan base it's at the point where this fan base is at each other's throats over the quarterback position, because it's so dynamic. Like there's such a crazy narrative around it. So again, it is what it is. We kind of have to live in it. We have to marinate in it, and we just have to wait and watch and see how it plays out. We really have to watch and see how it plays out, because I don't think the 49ers can do anything else at this point. You can't do anything else at this point. Again, if the fan base has a lot of questions and concerns about how this team operated, how the offense worked against this Green Bay team, and rightfully so. But the hope is that they can get this on the right track, get things going in the right direction, be more efficient, start out hot at the beginning, get Jimmy looking comfortable early on. But if it doesn't, like we've seen again, Jimmy came back. Whether you like how he played in the first half, whether you liked how he played in the second half, he brought this team back and scored and put them in a position to win. I guarantee you that offensive locker room specifically is looking at it that way. Not like fans are right now. Not where fans are going back and picking apart all the things that he did wrong in the first half, the fumble play. That locker room is not looking at it like that. I can guarantee you that they are going through this situation like, look, Jimmy brought us back. I guarantee you, their perception inside that locker room of that game doesn't match how fans are viewing it. They're looking at that situation like, look, Jimmy brought us back. Might not have been clean, might not have been pretty. Hell, you hear that all the time amongst coaches, players. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to look good. We just have to get the job done. At the end of the day, got to get the job done. Jimmy got the job done. He put them in position to score and scored and put them up with 37 seconds. Now we can nitpick the clock management. We can nitpick the coverage that they played on defense. We can do all that. But I guarantee you inside that locker room, it was almost like another vote of confidence for Jimmy Garoppolo, whereas the public perception is the exact opposite. It turned into like a vote of unconfidence in Jimmy Garoppolo based on how he played against the Green Bay Packers. But I think there will be a semblance of them essentially saying in that locker room, like, look, see, that's why Jimmy's quarterback. Because no matter how much crap he went through, no, he was getting beat up too. He was getting hit pretty hard. They see that they as football players view that through a lens that is much different than the fans. They're viewing that, they're seeing a warrior. They're seeing a guy who doesn't give up. They're seeing a guy that no matter how much adversity he goes through, he continues to fight and to fight and to fight. And this team will respond to that behavior. They'll respond to that mentality. Whereas fans just see it as a guy who is like inconsistent, should have played better in the first half, shouldn't have had that fumble, all that kind of stuff. And I get it. But I guarantee you that locker room is looking at him a little bit differently than what we are looking at him as. So when we continue to have these conversations about the quarterback, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, I can guarantee you this locker room right now is still behind Jimmy. I think they are. I don't think that performance, like I said, when I went back and watched, is actually better than I thought it was watching live. So I would imagine they have the same thoughts. So it's I don't know. It's gonna take Jimmy like just having a pure meltdown in my opinion, for him to like really, really, really get pulled at this point. So it is what it is. It's going to be an ongoing conversation. It's going to be a situation that we talk about nonstop. I'm watching Javon here. I like it. He did his responsibility. Look at Javon on the line of scrimmage, man. He just owns it. You want to see I'm gonna look at Eric on this one. Again, being the edge defender. You got to be able to hold the line of scrimmage. You got to anticipate the bounce out. Again, you got to hold the edge. You can't squeeze it down like this and then get beat to the outside. And then Jimmy Ward has to clean it up. Shout out Jimmy Ward. Just think we need better integrity on our edges. We just need better integrity on our edges. So it is what it is. Well, so Kevin, to your point, Kevin says number one rule of fandom: root for the jersey, not the player. I root for the player. I always root for the player. I'm big on rooting for the player, and this is my thought process behind it. Again, I'm a fan of football first. I always say this whenever anyone asks me, like, I'm a fan of football first. I'm a fan of the game first. I'm a fan of like the game. I don't care what team. I do care. My team's the 49ers. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying, like, at the end of the day, I respect these players. I know a little bit of what they've gone through to get to this point. I know how difficult it is. I know the grind is really, really hard. I know there's a lot of ups and downs that come from getting to this point. So I empathize with the player's journey. And so I scout college players. I become fans of these players in college. So Alan Lazard, for example, on the other side, was one of my favorite draft prospects coming out of Iowa State. He went undrafted. I have no idea why he went undrafted, but Alan Lazard is a really, really solid wide receiver. I like him a lot. He doesn't wear the jersey that my team sports, but that's because my team didn't pick him. It's not his fault. So I get it. I understand the thought process of, rooting for the jersey, but at the same time, there's a negative connotation that comes along with that. There is a negative, like, because if a player isn't doing well, there's no sense of loyalty. There's no sense of understanding. It's just like, well, you're wearing my jersey and you're not playing well. You're not playing well. So, like, get out of my jersey. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Not saying that's how you are specifically viewing it, Kevin, or how you go about watching the game. I'm just speaking in very broad generalities. Kevin says, Brad, come on. How many accurate passes did Jimmy throw? He threw quite a bit. I would say he threw upward. I don't know how many times he threw the ball. Let's double check. He completed 25 balls out of 40. I know there were a couple drops in there. I would say Jimmy probably had 20 to 25 really good throws. 20 to 25 really good throws. So again, he had 3 touchdown passes in a row dropped before the half. Really good throws. We broke it down yesterday. He had 3 really, really good throws before the half that all would have been touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdown passes, and Sanu, Aiyuk, and Debo all dropped them. Is that Jimmy's fault? Again, there's context behind it all. And if you want to find the context, it's there. But you have to go look for it, and you have to know what you're looking for. So that's the thing. Jimmy threw a ton of great passes. I think Jordan Elliott, Niners Nation, he posted one where Debo dropped. It was like a 20-yard out to the sideline, and Jimmy delivered a laser. And hit Debo perfectly in the gut. Debo dropped it. So Jimmy had a lot of good throws, man. He really did. He had bad throws because that's the point of where we're like the issues with Jimmy are is he's inconsistent. But he does have the ability to make really good throws. So it is what it is. It's the problem that we're having as fans. as evaluators, it's just the consistency. There has to be a level of consistency when playing that position. There needs to be a level of doing it in, play out. The problem that we have with Jimmy, or I'll speak for myself, the things that I have a really hard time with Jimmy is his lack of consistency. It's not his ability. He has ability. He shows he has ability. It's the actual ability to show his ability consistently that is the problem. Um, it's like how he started. He started out really shaky. Really, you could sense he was not feeling any of the pocket. His pocket awareness was not good, and he was making poor throws as a result. Until he settled in and really started to, like, again, shake the inconsistency, which is all mental. Being consistent is mental. And once he was able to shake that, he really settled in. He really did settle in. So yeah, his first half up until that last drive of the second half was not good. Like, I will not defend how he performed in the first half. However, I will defend how he played in the second half. And I understand why it's upsetting when you look back and we lose that game and you're like, well, if Jimmy just played better in the first half, then we're not in that situation. Yeah. But it also goes on the offensive coordinator as well, which is what I was saying at the beginning of the week, is that once you get into the tape and once you start to understand what these defenses were keying, the defense did a phenomenal job against us. And a lot of that was coaching, because they put their players in position to stop what we were doing. So there's plenty of adjustments to come off of this. Clearly, the 49ers probably played one of their worst games imaginable on national television and still almost won. So I think that's the part that's a bit lost in these conversations, is they did not have their best game and they still almost won. So we'll see. Bebop Jones says only 3 games in. Facts. We're only 3 games in. We are not ready to hit the panic button. Panic buttons for the first 4 weeks of the year, they're always put away. That needs to be, like, it's my thought process. It's how I work. I don't hit the panic button on anything the first 4 weeks of the year, because so much changes after those first 4 weeks. So I think once we get through Seattle, once we get through the Cardinals and we head into the bye week 6, then we're talking. Then we're talking about adjustments and things of that nature. We're having a better idea of the forecast. We have a bigger sample size. We played two decent teams within division. We'll have a much better idea of what this team is and what they're capable of after week 5. So we'll see. Yeah. So if you guys have, I'll answer a couple more questions. Quick rapid fire. We're at 118. Then I might hop off here. So if you do have any quick rapid fire questions, they could be fantasy related again. If you really are stumped with how to set your lineup. Eli Mitch question. Is Elijah Mitchell going to play? I hope so. Like I said at the beginning, he did practice today, but he's still wearing the blue non-contact jersey. So hopefully he'll be back. Really, really. Where did I get what from? What do I think about the officiating? I think the officiating has been terrible. I think it's been awful. Good, like, And even on both sides, I thought the just overall officiating on Sunday Night Football, even for on the Packers side, they were just terrible, absolutely terrible. This hat is from Residency. I actually have a promo code. So if you do, this was the hat that Debo was actually wearing during his press conference today. So if you do want to go and get this hat from Residency, residency.com, you can use promo code all capitals, the SF Niners, just like the name is. I think it'll give you like $5 off. It's not a crazy promo, but it gets you a little bit off if you do want to go ahead and get this hat. If you use the promo code the SF Niners, you will get $5 off your purchase. So head over there to get that taken care of. I got you, TJ. And again, there's all kinds. There's all kinds of hats. I have them all. You got the black and white. You got the red. I like this one a lot. The black and red is my fave. And then you got the gold. So, hey, I might be your new hat plug these days. Hat plug. Is D Harris going to push D Johnson to the practice squad? Shoot. At this time, maybe. Dude, so this is the thing about this Harris kid. I've never seen him play for the 49ers. When I was doing my roster prediction, he was on the roster that I was doing my roster prediction on, and I saw his name, and I was like, that must be a mistake, because I have no idea who that is or where he came from. Like, who is that? So I like to feel like I'm pretty good about keeping up on the team and who's on the team. I had no idea this guy was on our team. So the Harris guy at cornerback, hell, I hope he does. I hope he's good. I hope he earned a roster spot while being on IR for a reason. So hopefully he gets some run. Hopefully if one of these guys can't go, we can actually elevate him. He's been on the roster. He made the final 53 man just to go on injured reserve. So I hope he's decent. I hope he's decent. But I think we'll call it for a day. Getting close to an hour and a half. Don't want to push it much further. So we'll be back tomorrow. The big thing that I want to look at tomorrow is I actually want to start looking at Seattle. I want to pull some clips from Seattle, offense, defense. We'll look at them. We'll break them down. We'll get a baseline idea of like what we're going up against defensive wise, offensively. See what players they have, because they do have a new offensive coordinator, being Seattle Seahawks, that has come from the Rams. So he does have similar ideologies and thought processes that resemble ours, due to the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. So I'm excited to look into that. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. So we're gonna come back. We'll have a Seattle Seahawks focused episode, and we'll rip apart their roster. We'll rip apart some plays that they've been putting out, and we'll see how they match up with us as the 49ers head into week 4 against Seattle. Absolutely wild that we're already week 4. Absolutely wild that we're already headed into week 4. This season's going to be over before we know it. It's going to be a blink of an eye, and we're going to be battling for a playoff spot. So it starts here, though. This is where it starts. The division games, in my opinion, are the most important games. I really feel like, especially this one, being Seattle, what Seattle means to the fan base, what Seattle means to that locker room from a mental standpoint of them kind of running the division for better part of the last decade. We got to reassert the dominance. And with the performance that the 49ers had against the Green Bay Packers, there's going to be a lot of room for improvement. So if the 49ers can come out against a team who's lost a couple games in a row and smack them in the face, and like I'm talking about 60 minutes of throttling the Seattle Seahawks. Like the 49ers, I think, in our opinion, the last 3 weeks have not been what we expect from them. Clearly, based on everything that they've said to themselves, it's not what they expect of themselves. So the hope is, and I liked what Kittle said when he was talking about how do you deal with the emotions of the game. He said that they're going to get an angry team facing against Seattle, which they're saying the 49ers are going to be angry. So good. I want them to be angry. I want them to come out with the intent of destroying Seattle. That's what I want. 60 minutes from the first play to the end play. I don't want any more of this back and forth, any more of this like starting out hot and then dying it down, or not being able to get it rolling and then having to pick it up at the end. I want this team to come in with the goal to destroy Seattle from the jump. So I think that needs to be the expectation. I really do. I think if this is a close game, that's not going to be necessarily a good thing for the 49ers. If this is a close game, this means that they, again, are still lacking on some adjustments. They're not executing like they'd want to. And we'll look at all that tomorrow. So, again, appreciate the Sourdough Squad, as always, hopping in. Everyone chilling for the live. Don Burr, always good to see you. Are you guys rapping Eminem in the chat? What's going on here? I hear what you're saying. Again, angry identifies that you're emotional and could be playing out of sorts a bit. I think in this football sense, I think it's okay. We gotta whoop these guys, man. We gotta whoop these guys. So again, appreciate everyone for watching. I will be back tomorrow. You guys have a blessed